Hi everyone, Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlogger. It's a City present, isn't it, as we look back to, as I'm recording this, last night's little game against Real Madrid, the second leg of the last 16 on the 7th of August at the Etihad Stadium. Of course, we went into this with a 2-1 advantage, didn't we? And I'm not giving too much away by saying we sort of replicated that score. I was hoping for the 3-1, but we had to end up with the 2-1. So I think that'll do, won't it? It shouldn't be too greedy, should we? Anyway, please, if you're new to the Citizen channel, please push that subscribe button, push the notification so you know these little vlogs, past and present, are coming out, history vlogs as well as these City present vlogs as well. So please do that, and if you can give me a thumbs up, even much appreciated. It's nice to get views, but it's nice to get thumbs ups as well, much appreciated. Right, yeah. So today we're going to look at a quick review of the game. Player ratings, we've got Mr. Stuart Brennan back doing the player ratings. Him and Mr. Bukowski seem to be splitting it between them now in the MEN. Some talking points from the game, and of course a new little regular feature, just some quirky stats out. Sort of, obviously I'll do the match stats, but just some little quirky stats, sort of just from up to Joe mainly, and there's other people, but we'll have a look at those after before we go. Yeah, the lineup. Yeah, I was my prediction in the preview, I think it was 8. I think I got 8 right. I mean, I think I can forgive the Garcia thing. Obviously I wasn't aware of the problem we were going to have with Garcia as far as now being obviously keen to go. So obviously that certainly affected that. I did think obviously Ferner would come in for that. I did sort of hint that perhaps Gundo would be in there because Mr. Pep will be a bit more defensive. Obviously we're 2-1 up, aren't they? So he's not going to go full crack, is he? Although I didn't put Gundo in my team. I think we did have a little proviso. But the real shock was Foden playing. I just didn't expect the Stockport Iniesta to play, to be honest with you. So that was sort of, I had Silva or Bernardo in that role there. Certainly David Silva, I thought he'd start the game. So, but I got 8 right, so that wasn't too bad. And allowing for the Garcia thing, I probably got 9, didn't I? I mean, you know, probably got 9 right. Yeah, the subs. I mean, we had a full team of subs, didn't we? Did you have more subs in the Champions League games? Obviously, must do, don't we? On to the game. Well, as you know, I split it into little hexes, don't I? I mean, the third, I think it was a minute and 40 seconds, and I think Real Madrid just passed it around at the back. They weren't doing anything dangerous with it. They were just playing keep ball at the back, and we saw obviously as the game progressed, it sort of worked against them a little bit, didn't it? But I think it was definitely a minute and 40 seconds before I think the ball went out or City got a throw in or something like that. And it wasn't until the 8th minute for the real first chance. Very tentative, very nervy. I think both teams look quite nervous. I think this is going to be the same in the knockout stages in Lisbon. I think teams are going to be a little bit nervy at the start. You know, it's a one-off game at the end of the day. Don't want to give too much away. Yeah, I think. But we saw it, didn't we? Not just on 8 minutes. It was poor by the Madrid defence sorry, KDB first effort was wide after six minutes, and then on 8 minutes we got the goal, didn't we? Which obviously Mr. Varane, who we'll talk about later as well, sort of dawdling, aren't they, in defence? I mean, the keeper should have perhaps put it upfield, but he sort of played it across to it. And Jesus, who had a great game last night, personally, I'll say now, he was my man of the match. Most people saying Walker, but I thought it was Jesus, to be honest with you. Robbed him, didn't he? And obviously, I think Sterling tried his best to hit the defender, didn't he, with his shot? I think it sort of went through the defender's legs or something. It wasn't the greatest finish. It was always waiting for the defender to slide in and just put it under him. So I'll give him credit, though. He obviously hit the target, he hit the back of the net. So I shouldn't be too critical, should be, of Sterling. That's a great start, wasn't it? But as the commentators said, it was always no different. Real Madrid still have to score 2 goals. I mean, as always, the commentators, everything's positive City did. They did a negative, etc. And everything, you know, obviously was negative about Real Madrid. They gave some excuse for it, but, you know, that's just typical now of our reporting on City games, isn't it? We had a couple of good half chances as well from Gundogan and Foden blocked. Although they weren't great at the back, at least we were getting bodies in there. And on 15 minutes at the end of the first hex of the game, if you like, Sterling rippled the top of the net, didn't he? Although it was never looked as though it was going to go in. But we didn't have long. I mean, the second hex, I mean, was sort of noticeable for the only real great move. I mean, really good move by Real Madrid, to be honest with you. It's a good little move. I mean, you can blame us defensively, but fantastic header from Benzema from a really good cross, and he sort of split the defenders, didn't he? We had enough men back, but unfortunately it was too high for our defenders, and Benzema met it superbly. Great header. and he was probably their best player on the night. I thought Benzema. He's the only one who sort of looked as though he was any good, to be honest with you. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But a great header, and it was obviously all the work had been undone, hadn't it? 1-1. So obviously Real Madrid again on for a chance. You know, they needed another goal, wasn't it? Yeah, but they didn't sort of push on from that, Real Madrid. They didn't look inspired. I mean, again, it was us troubling Courtois on a couple of occasions. Foden had a great chance just before half time, didn't he? But he shot wide, and after another mess up, wasn't it? It was another cock up in the defence by Real Madrid. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pick on Foden too much, but perhaps he should have hit the target with that. But he just tried to make sure it was wide enough so Courtois couldn't get to it. Unfortunately, it was too wide, you know, to get past the defender, and went wide past the post. The second half, City started quite brightly. We had another Courtois save from Sterling, didn't we? Very early doors. It was obviously the busier of the two keepers. And then 53 minutes, another Madrid error. And Gundo was fed with the ball. I think it's Foden fed it to Gundo, and instead of just hitting it first time, he passed out to Sterling. But I mean, by the time it reached Sterling, Madrid players had come back, and he got sort of closed down very quickly. And I don't understand why Gundogan just didn't put his foot through it as soon as he got it. It was very, very weird. KDB had another effort blocked on 57 minutes. And Madrid looked okay then. They had a couple of half chances for Benzema. He had what certainly worked Edison on one of them, but it's more or less straight at him. But they did have a couple of half chances, so it wasn't total City domination. But they did look a bit weary, Real Madrid. They did look a bit clueless as to what to do. Into the fifth hex, if you like, into the 75th minute onwards. I mean, Courtois made a great save from Jesus from good KDB play again, and so it did look as though the only team that's going to go 2-1 was City. It just didn't look as though Real Madrid could do it, but obviously that happens all the time, doesn't it? But we had a substitution. Bernardo came on for Foden on 66. Yeah, Foden had a quiet second half, so it's probably reasonable. And we only had to wait a couple of minutes, didn't it? It wasn't a Bernardo influence particularly, but it was nothing, was it? I mean, again, Varane just he was sort of defensive header. He didn't get any power on it. Then he had to do it again, and he just didn't get any power back to his keeper. And Jesus again just snuck in and beat Courtois to it, and he could have easily blocked it, Courtois. But all Jesus did was hit the target, and that's all you can ask of your attackers. They're fantastic. He took it really, really well. And that was 2-1, and to be honest with you, there was no real crash-bang wallop from Real Madrid after that. There's a little bit of effort from them, but nothing to really threaten the City goal. Again, it was City who had the better chances. Bernardo had another good chance that he should have done better with. And Sterling went down in the box, and I thought it could have been a penalty. I'm sure that. I mean, the commentators brushed over it, but I thought the Real Madrid defender took Sterling's legs. But nothing was given. 80 minutes. I mean, the game's petering out, isn't it? I mean, Madrid have to score 2 goals, and it's just, they don't look any real sort of urgency. And then we got the wonderful David Silva on at 80 minutes, didn't we? He came on for Sterling, which was fantastic. He even had a couple of chances, didn't he? He had a free kick, which, again, never looked as though it was going in. It's sort of obviously just over the bar. And I think he had a shot as well that narrowly missed. And I think, obviously, at 80 minutes, I think the game was over. But if we needed clarification that the game was over, it was on 88 minutes when the general came on, obviously, for Rodri. Otamendi came on. And once you throw Otamendi on at that stage of the game, you've got to think it's game over, isn't it? I was thinking 5-6 minutes injury time, but there's only 4 minutes of injury time. I think the ref had seen enough. I don't think Madrid had any real desire to do anything last night. Not the desire. I just don't think they had the personnel to do it. I mean, we'll talk about those in a second. And obviously we went through and obviously finished up the 2-1. I say it should have been more. Should have been a bit more than that. And obviously, as I say in the headline to this, Lisboa and destiny await us, don't they? Hopefully, and let's see what happens. I mean, destiny might be kicked out of the quarterfinals, but there you go. You never know, do you? You've got to go for it. I mean, the match stats themselves. Possession 56% for City, 44% for Madrid. 20 shots for City, 7 on target. 9 shots for Madrid, 4 on target. So again, sort of dominance was there, wasn't it? Passes 603 for City, 492 for Madrid. So not too much of a difference, I suppose. City accuracy of passes 87%. accuracy for City, 85% for Real Madrid. So again, not much in it. Fouls against City, far more fouls, which tends to be the case these days. It's very rare City don't commit less fouls than the opposition. 8 fouls by City, 3 by Real Madrid. Offsides, only 1 by City. I can't remember. Was that Jesus? I can't even remember now. I can't remember the offside. And 4 by Real Madrid. So they weren't watching the line. Perhaps they've been watching Jesus videos. I'm not too sure. Corners, 7 for City. Never really looked like scoring from any. I mean, KDB was basically just pumping him in the box, wasn't he? Didn't look as though we'd do anything from him. 7 for City, 3 for Real Madrid. Booking's just the one for Real Madrid. I can't remember which player it was now. Just the one booking, wasn't it, for the Real Madrid player? The ratings, player ratings. Let's have a quick look at Stuart Brennan, and then what I would say on these is quite brief. Stuart Brennan, Bukowski sort of gives us a bit more info, but Stuart doesn't mess about. Ederson, important saves from Benzema and Hazard, and he tested Real with his long passing, so he's given him a 7. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I'm going to give him a basic 7 today because we won the game. So no player, and I can tell you now, no player got less than a 7 on the City team in my eyes. But then again, not a lot of players got a lot more than a 7 either, because I thought, you know, for what it was, I don't think we were that great, but obviously neither were Real Madrid. Kyle Walker, Brennan, such a powerhouse. Hazard didn't get a look in, and his storming runs unhinged the visitors. Yeah, he's given him an 8. I've given a 7.5. Yeah, a lot of people raving over Kyle Walker, but I've reined it in just a little bit because, yeah, I thought he had a great game, but, you know, it's... yeah, I don't know. 7.5. I'll stick to 7.5. Fernandinho, always calm and assured. Only once did Madrid get in behind him, so Stuart's given him a 7. I'll agree with that, 7. Laporte, great battle with Benzema, in which he had the edge in the end. Stuart's given him a 7, but I'm going to give him a 7.5, because I say Benzema did have a couple of half chances, but apart from the goal, perhaps, but I mean, there was at least 3 City defenders could have done a bit better with that one. So I'm going to give Laporte 7.5. Stuart Brennan's given him 7. Cancelo, excellent when bombing forward, involved in many City attacks, which he is, but was exposed for the goal. Yeah, but I'll forgive him that. I mean, it was again, he wasn't alone, was he? It's just, but he did look a bit suspect, to be honest with you, on that goal. He playing at left back, but hey, we know that, don't we? He's not a natural left back, but hey, he's probably better than what we've got. Will Mendy get back in? Who knows? So Cancelo, Stuart's given him a 7. I give him a 7 as well. Rodri worked himself to a standstill, and his assist for the second goal was not his most glorious, so he's given him a 7. Yeah, I'll give Rodri a 7. Gundogan just kept it all hanging together for the Blues, made 2 big interceptions, kept City rolling. Yeah, just give him a 7. Again, I'll give him a basic 7. Kevin De Bruyne, nowhere near his best, but kept plugging away, threatening to make things happen. Yeah, again, all the 7s on that one again. I have to agree with Stuart. As I said, it's my basic score of 7 for Kevin. Again, not his greatest game, but you always think obviously the opposition are always going to have to worry about him, aren't they? Phil Foden, yeah, I mean, he great start in the City high press in an unusual role, but his influence waned. Yeah, I agree with that. He started really well, and I think the last 2 or 3 games where he started the game, by the 60th minute, he sort of second half, he's sort of not influenced it as much. So again, that's probably his age and experience. So he's given him a 7. Stuart's given him a 7. I'll give him a 7 as well. I mean, as I said, that's the minimum. And my highest score is obviously going to go to Gabi Jesus. Rob Varane to tee up the first and brilliant finish the second for another quality display. So he's given him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8, which is my man of the match score for Gabriel Jesus, but just above Walker. Raheem Sterling won't score an easier goal. Well, he tried not to, didn't he? He tried to hit the defender, didn't miss it. And his pace gave Madrid problems throughout the game. It did. So Stuart's only give him a 7. No, I give him a 7.5. Because at the end of the day, he scored the goal, and as you said, he did cause problems. And on another day, he might have had a penalty. But there you go. Subs. He's only scored Bernardo Silva, who came on 67 minutes for Foden. And he's given him a 6. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to give any less than a 7 anyway, so I'll give him a 7. Nothing for David Silva, not enough time to mark. And the General, nothing for the General. I mean, you give the General 10. That's what he deserves, isn't it, Sean? Anyway, the game, little talking points. I did mention, obviously, in the preview about I never really worried about Hazard. I didn't realise he's had such a bad season at Real Madrid with injuries, etc., etc. But last night, it was just the Hazard I've seen play for other teams as well. I've never been overly impressed with him, and I know he probably is a good player. I know City wanted him at some time, didn't he? But again, he didn't do anything last night, did he? But he's been in and out of the team and a lot of injuries, etc. So from that point of view, but as I said, I was right not to probably worry about him. Yeah, as I said before with the scores, I don't think we were at our best. It was very warm, wasn't it? Very muggy night, and we sort of played more their pace than our pace, I think. So we were quite happy to do that many times. But I don't think we were at our best last night. And but Madrid, how I thought they were very poor. I mean, this is a team that totally, after the shutdown, totally dominated the Spanish league. I mean, they absolutely walked away with La Liga. Well, walked away only by 5 points, but obviously they didn't even look as though they would win it before the shutdown. So yeah, I mean, we didn't see much last night. I thought they were very, very poor. I say Benzema, I thought Courtois played quite well as apart from when he's pushing it around his defence with his passing abilities. I don't think they're great, but he made 2 or 3 okay saves, pretty good saves. But yeah, Benzema was the only one I would probably from last night. I mean, people like Modric didn't have any influence whatsoever. Did they miss Ramos? Yeah, of course he did, but you can't be a one man. It's like we probably miss Aguero, don't we, and stuff like that. But you can't be a one man team. And but defensively, yeah, absolutely a bit more shambolic than we are, aren't we? Let's face it, they are. They weren't great, but then again, City weren't great, but we did what we had to do. You can only beat, as you say, you can only beat what's put in front of you. So, yeah, I mean, that's all we could do. We've got a quarter final now with Lyon. So we've got through on the away goals after having getting beat at Juventus, but obviously they did score a goal because they were winning 1-0, and obviously they lost 2-1, but they get through on the away goal reel, so that was good for Lyon. But I mean, they've got a previous, haven't they? Last season they beat us at the Etihad, so. It will be an interesting game, and I'm sure Pep's prepared for it. It was interesting to see him and Zinedine Zidane chatting on the pitch with some images. I think there's probably an image I've shown on here of him having a good chat afterwards. So, but Zidane, at least he won the league, didn't he? Which isn't the sort of thing Real Madrid have done much of recently, is it? So he's probably been quite happy with that. I think his job's fairly safe, is it? I would have thought. So yeah, it's off to Lisboa, isn't it? And as I say, it's a date with destiny for us, isn't it? Let's see if we can do it. I mean, as I said, I've got me lay bets there, but so I'm not worried about if they fail. I'm not that overly bothered. Been interested to see that. I've not looked at the betting now on the Champions League. I'll have a look at that for on the next on City Present vlog when we do a preview of the Lyon game. So that'd be interesting to see what the odds are at the moment now on City lifting on and each team lifting the Champions League. The quirky stats, right? Little quirky stats. This is just some interesting. This stuff's from this first ones are from Opta Joe. The number 9 is the Kevin De Bruyne's tally of 9 chances created in his last night in a Champions League is the most in a Champions League game and the most in a game against Real Madrid in the competition since 2003, overtaking Andrei Arshavin's 8 from Zenit in September 2008. So that's an interesting little quirky stat. Another one, 2. Real Madrid have lost both legs of the Champions League knockout tie for the first time since 2008-2009, so over 10 years ago, when they lost both home and away against Liverpool in the last 16. I think it was 5-0, wasn't it? So hey, Liverpool outdid us again. Worry about that. 2, there's a couple of things on Mr. Varane. Rafael Varane is the first Real Madrid player to commit 2 errors leading to a goal in a single Champions League game since at least 2007-2008 season, so nearly 12. So that's not a very good stat to have, is it? 2, again, Gabriel Jesus is just the second player to score in both legs of a Champions League knockout tie against Real Madrid for an English side, after Ruud van Nistelrooy with Manchester United back in 2002-2003. This is another interesting stat. 150 and 100 in their 76th Champions League match. City have scored their 150th and conceded their 100th goal in the competition, the fastest to both figures for any English side in the competition. There you go. That's one of those typical City stats, isn't it? That we should be proud of, because it's not great, but it's an interesting stat. 20. Raheem Sterling has become just the 6th different Englishman to score 20 Champions League goals, whilst only Wayne Rooney at 24 years, 157 days, reached this total at a younger age than the City forward, 25 years, 243 days. Hopefully Mr. Sterling will be hanging around a little bit longer than Mr. Rooney did at the highest level. At goal, this is from Goal at Goal. City are the first English club to win both legs of a Champions League knockout tie against Spanish opposition in 11 years. And Squawker Football at Squawker. Rafael, this is the second Varane thing. Rafael Varane is the first outfield player across the last 4 seasons to make 3 errors leading to goals in a single Champions League campaign. Obviously, he must have committed another one to add to the 2 last night. So there you go. That's your little quirky stats. So anyway, thanks. Let me know in the comments what you think. Just give us your player ratings if you agree. If you thought, as I say, most people thought Walker was the best player last night. Personally, as I say, I sort of thought Jesus was superb last night. I thought he played really well, and he's showing a few of his doubters, isn't he? What he's all about. But yeah, Walker played pretty well. But I say, as a team, we played okay. We did what we had to do. We could only beat what's out there. And I'm sure we've got tougher tasks and tougher tests to come. But it's all one-offs now, isn't it? Which is great. I mean, at least that's the good thing. Obviously, as I said, I think we'll be a little bit nervy in some of these games. I think every team will. I mean, even someone of Real Madrid's experience last night looked a little bit nervy, and they knew what they had to do. They had to score at least a couple of goals. But they didn't look as though there were any great urgency to do that early doors, were they? So be interesting, won't it? I'll be having a look at how Lyon have been doing anyway before next week when I do that. I'll be back obviously with the review of the Lyon game on the 14th of August, Friday the 14th. I'll do that with some other little bits and bobs. I've collected some information on City and something about an old fanzine as well. It's quite interesting. I'm going to tell you about that. That's out there. So if you've not heard about that. Not the King of the Kipak, so that might get a mention, but there's another little fanzine that you can actually read. You can actually read an updated version of it online, so I'll have some information on that. And of course, I've got a couple of City Pass coming out. We've got a little quiz on the 10th of August. Keep your eye out for that. It's based on the Champions 2014 brochure, the Together brochure. That was the thing, wasn't it? Together. That was our little sort of tagline for that season. So there's a little information vlog and little quiz on that. And we've got on the 12th of August a little got not got vlog as well. So obviously a little look through some City and football memorabilia. So there'll be, I think it'll be part 2 or 3 of that. I think I've published a couple of parts of that already. So that'll be the latest got not got, and there will be a City not got now got, which is the sister vlog to that, which where I've actually opened up little envelopes and stuff of things I've bought and share that with you as well. So there'll be one of them obviously the next couple of weeks as well to coincide with the got not got vlog that's due out. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the match last night. What do you think of Real Madrid? Do you think I'm being a bit cruel to City saying we weren't that great, but Real Madrid were poor? But a bit of both, I think. I thought City played well. We did what we had to do, but Real Madrid didn't really do what they had to do, did they? I think that was mainly the problem. Anyway, until you join me again for another Citizen vlog, past or present, this is Bernard saying goodbye. Look after yourself, look after your friends, look after your family. And more importantly, let's all look after each other. And hopefully I'll see you all again very, very soon. Please stay safe, Blues. Bye-bye.